my name's Vinny Fullajario and I am the curriculum leader for BTEC Sports and the Andy Griffin Football Academy at Stafford College. And Jack's covered quite a few things, so I'm not going to sort of dwell too much on some of the stuff that he's gone through. But the main sort of focus that I'm going to look at tonight is how the Andy Griffin Football Academy sort of blends in with the courses that we provide at Stafford College. And there's just a short little introductory video here that you should be able to hear and see as I press play. Okay, so that was just like a short snippet of some of the facilities and a little overview of the Andy Griffin Academy, sort of as is, a little sort of introduction to that. So the Andy Griffin Academy is a 2-year full-time program aimed at talented young male and female players who have aspirations to play football at a high level or work in the football industry, but also appreciate the value of top-class education. What we're trying to sort of provide here is sort of excellent first-class sort of coaching alongside an academic course that Jack was talking about, and all those expectations that Jack mentioned within his sort of presentation as well. Andy Griffin heads up the academy, and he's been now 6 years, I think, at Newcastle, and this is the 2nd year at Stafford. And we're sort of always, developing what we provide and learning each year, really, and sort of, trying to sort of aim towards a first class, mirroring a sort of a professional club setup, but alongside that academic structure as well. The team here at Stafford, then you've got Andy Griffin, who obviously heads up the programme and is split across the 2 campuses. So he's sort of bombing between the 2 sites, all season and overseeing it. And then you've got Tim Grahl, who is the first team head coach. So he oversees the first team, runs them on sort of match days and that as well, sort of underneath Andy. And myself, I am the curriculum leader for this course. So I look at everyone's attendance, work submission and things like that as the squad is picked. And I liaise with tutors and different departments across the college to make sure that they're both in sync, really. What we can't have is, one above the other. So for example, if someone isn't attending or isn't submitting work, they come off the Andy Griffin Academy until they get back on track, and then they're allowed back into the academy. Again, if they're not turning up for training and match days and not doing what they want on that side, again, that's my sort of area to get in touch and try and get them back on track and that as well. So they run sort of hand in hand, and the expectations of both is very, very high. Again, Andy, very important about sort of trying to instill all these disciplines into people and that as well. So in addition to football skills, you are learning valuable life skills, that prepare you for life beyond college. And all these things you can apply to, the work ethics within teams and training squads and things like that as well. And you can actually apply that in your classroom studies as well. So we try and have an ethos of all these different disciplines across the board. Some of the facilities that we're using at the moment in Stafford, not at the moment because of obviously COVID, we use Stafford Town, which is a sort of first class facility, really. Really good sort of local provision that we can use. At the moment, obviously we can't because of the current restrictions, but we do have 3G pitches on site that we're using at the moment for small-sided games and things like that to continue training. The beauty of us being across 2 sites is that competitive matches obviously aren't happening across different colleges and that at the moment, but because we are across 2 sites, we've probably got 5 or 6 teams across all the areas where we can still do sort of friendly games amongst ourselves. So the lads at the moment and the girls are still getting some sort of competitive matches and training as we go through this sort of phase. What we're looking for is 16 to 18-year-old male and females who are talented enough to be playing at high club level. So you might be currently playing at a decent level, county level, and you're thinking about obviously trying to progress your football as well as your academic abilities as well. If you achieve 4 GCSEs at grade 4 to 9, preferably including your maths or English as well, then you would be looking to come onto our level 3 courses, either the sports science that Jack mentioned, the personal training course, or the level 3 sports. And that 4 GCSEs would get you onto that qualification. Like I said, 2-year program, and the AGFA would run alongside that. Your level 3 extended diploma in sport is very similar to the setup that Jack mentioned with the level 3 sports science, but obviously predominantly a little bit more towards coaching, a little bit more towards like sports development, a little bit more hands-on and things like that as well. But the setup is exactly the same. You get 12 hours of actually academic contact time, and then you'll get about 5 or 6 hours of academy, Andy Griffin Academy alongside that as well. If you don't get 4 GCSEs at grade 4 or above, there is another option. There's a level 2 extended certificate in sport. Okay, and that will allow you still to access the Andy Griffin Academy. And what this will do is lead into you going on to the full 2-year program after that. So you could predominantly be with us for 3 years, do your level 2 extended diploma, which is equivalent to 3 GCSEs, get your English and maths alongside that if you haven't got that, and move on to our level 3 program, and still stay within the Andy Griffin Academy as well. Again, I mean, obviously for us, it's easier for us if you are on a sports course, for example, because we can tailor our timetables and program around that. But you might not want to predominantly go down that route way. So you might be looking at A-levels. You might be looking at industry-based qualifications in construction, engineering, and things like that as well. And we welcome everybody across the whole college into the Andy Griffin Academy. So don't think that you're not doing a sports course, that you can't access it. We've got at the moment, I think we've got probably a squad of 25, and I think there's about 8 or 9 that aren't directly on our sports course. Obviously, predominantly the bulk of them are from our sports courses, but there are others in engineering and A-levels and across the board as well. Not always easy to fit everyone's timetable in and around that, but we do what we can and mix and match, and we liaise with tutors and students to try and fit it in around it as best we can. Some sort of success stories, really. Some of these have gone through, obviously Newcastle are a bit further down the line than us in regards to, you know, what the outcome of the academy is. So they've had some good sort of successes with some of the students there as well. And John Jones on the end there, JJ, he actually works for NSCG now as well, and supports Griff for the academy on both sites, and supports training and that as well. And he's currently at Crewe Alexander. You've got Sherry as well there. She heads up the female Andy Griffin Academy, and she's at Leicester, and she used to go to the college as well, and now she sort of heads up that element of it as well. So we've got, you know, success stories that have happened in, you know, through that process as well. Obviously Stafford is still in the infancy of that, but we're hoping in, you know, sort of the next couple of years that a few of those opportunities arise for some of our students. You know, and obviously some people go into it with the aim of trying to be a professional and obviously earn a living from it as well. But I think, like Jack touched on as well, what we want to do is make sure that your academic studies are there as well to support you. If that doesn't happen, we've got other avenues and other aspects that you could go down and still have a career within football whether it be as a coach, as a physio, or PT or something down those lines as well. The kit, the all-important kit that everyone's on about. So you get one, obviously, if you get in the Andy Griffin Academy. I'll touch on some of the processes to get in the academy in a little bit, but you'll go to trials over the summer, and then if you're picked within the squad, you get a set of kit that we like you to wear around the college. You know, wear it with pride, and obviously it's a good achievement to get in that squad. Every match day, every training, you should be within, you know, in your kit, you know, representing the college and Andy Griffin Academy. So, I mean, around the college, for me personally, you see that, you know, the lads and the girls in their kit, and it looks really smart, and it just looks, you know, really sort of professional, and gives a good sort of impression of what we're trying to do. At the moment, we've got, obviously, it's going to be sort of adaptable each year. At the moment, we've got sort of 3 main sessions across the week for our Andy Griffin Academy students. So we've got Monday 1:45 till 3:30. We do some performance analysis and strength and conditioning. You might have seen on the video the pods and that we've got, so we can track movement and have some analysis. And Will Bratt up at Newcastle sort of heads up that element, and we're still trying to sort of develop that down at Stafford. And obviously, once we get back into playing competitive matches, that will become sort of more relevant. So the idea of that is that the next day after match days, or some point during the week, we can analyze structure and movement and output and things like that as well, and give you a bit of feedback on a weekly basis about not only individual performances, but team performance and team structure, how Andy and Tim want you to play, you know, where your movements are and things like that. So that's really sort of current and really sort of valuable at the moment. Tuesday 2:45 till 4:30, you've got squad training, roles and responsibilities, individual technique, and that's all headed up by JJ, Andy and Tim. And then Wednesday afternoons are kept free for you guys to take part in competitive matches. So like I said, at the moment they're not sort of happening with other colleges, but tomorrow, for example, we've got all the lads coming down with our second team at Beaconside, and we're going to be doing some small-sided games to keep them sort of ticking over. So we're still keeping them active as we go through. So that's really sort of the contact time that you would have, alongside the 12 hours of academic studies as well. And like I said, those go hand in hand, really. You need to be accessing both of them and committed to both of them. This is last year's sort of set of trials. Obviously, we've not done any trials this year because of the current situation, but the plan is for people that apply, there's a section on the application where you can put in about you can tick the box for the Andy Griffin Academy, and that will come through to us, and then you will get notifications and emails about upcoming trials. And last year, like I said, look, we started in February, April, June, and then September. So we had a few trials across the year, and the more you access, the more chance you've got of obviously, you know, getting noticed and obviously showing what you can do at those trials, really. And that is for obviously boys and girls across both teams. So, you know, that information will be going out, and like I said, at the moment we're holding back on them until we get further directives on what we can and can't do. So once they're confirmed, the information will go out to those students that have applied for that. Just to recap on some of the sort of, you know, the vocational routes, really, like Jack mentioned, you've got sports science, you've got the PT course, you've got the level 3 sport, and you've got the level 2. That's really what we offer from a sports department, but you could have obviously other areas with the A levels and the industry-based qualifications as well. So whatever area you're thinking about going in, you know, we had students last year and ahhing thinking that they had to go on a sports course. Well, that's not the case. You need to make sure that you're happy on your academic studies, as well as your football academy stuff as well. So it's really important that you're happy on both sides of that.